What's up? My name is Kari and I want to tell you about a really cool film you can find on Netflix called Game Over. This is a South Indian film. It's originally in the Tamil language, but when you watch it on Netflix, it's been dubbed in Hindi. I only mention this because even if you're reading the subtitles, there are times in the movie where you can notice that the mouth is moving and the audio is not exactly the same. It's not horrible because as you're reading the subtitles, you're maybe not noticing as much, but it's a little bit unfortunate. So Netflix, come on, put the original language on there. It is a home invasion horror movie where there's more to it, which I'll get to, so hang on. And it stars Taapsee Pannu, who plays Sapna, who's this video game designer who things aren't quite going the way she wants work. She has some other issues that as the movie unfolds, you get to learn about them. So she had some kind of traumatic something happen and thus makes her a bit of a hermit, which works well for designing because she can do it at home. Turns out there's a serial killer on the loose that likes cutting people's heads off and setting people on fire. Yikes! For this particular film, their style of filmmaking wanted to mimic like the feel of you're going through a video game as if she's the main character. So there are times in the movie where it definitely feels like it's following along, and other times where you're essentially having the killer's point of view because they apparently like to film what they're doing. But it's following the people and you're watching what's happening, which makes it really uncomfortable, which is an effective device as like a horror genre film, but just letting you know, it's kind of like, as you're sitting there, but I guess that means it did its job. Unfortunately, a lot of the things that are really cool about this movie would totally spoil it, so I can't tell you all the ways it's really cool unless you want spoilers, which, again, I'll let you know when that's happening. Overall, if you want a horror film that's a bit more like home invasion with some other stuff that's going on, and yeah, just something a little different in that realm, do recommend Game Over. I myself am not a huge fan of the home invasion genre. I mean, not necessarily like against it, but it's never been something that's been a huge draw for me. This film did a really good job of using that horror genre and putting other elements into it that made it interesting and kind of unique and give a different spin on that subgenre of horror. So I do recommend it in that sense. It has a lot of tension. It has at least one good jump scare that really got me. I didn't necessarily make an out loud noise, but it definitely had a like, it was good. Like, oh, it got me. There's other great tension leading up to it. Some cool kind of action, like how do you fend off someone if they invaded your home. Taapsee does a great job in the film. I like her commitment to the role. I like her energy. And she does a really good job of fully committing to this and making you go on this journey with her, from someone who essentially can't go outside to how do you defend your home then if someone comes into it. All right, that kind of sums it up of what I can tell you without spoiling anything. So again, if you're looking for something kind of horror, thriller, and you got Netflix, go check out Game Over. All right, I'm gonna get into spoilers now, so turn it off. Turn the video off if you do not want spoilers, because like I said, there's some really great aspects in this film, but I can't talk about it unless I spoil it. So go watch the movie and then come back and see if you agree with me of what those cool elements are, or, you know, just stop now, go watch the movie, and hopefully I'll see you later. All right, spoiler time. Ready? Okay, one of the first things about this movie that's so cool with the video game aspect is the character Sapna has this tattoo on her wrist of an 8-bit heart with the controller inside. Cool, great. Well, it turns out the tattoo she gets is essentially infused with the ashes of the girl who was murdered earlier in the film. Cool, kind of saw that coming, but that's not necessarily what's really cool, is once the home invasion happens, she gets 2 additional hearts, like a video game, as in her extra lives. I was like, okay, that's cool. So we're taking home invasion and kind of adding like supernatural aspect to it, or, you know, magical realism of beyond regular world, because that'd be awesome if you got like, hey, surprise, you have extra lives. So she dies, heart goes away. Dies one more time, well, you only got one. This is your last chance. And essentially, that's like life. You only get one. So that was something really cool. Then the other thing that's really like, oh, there's not just one killer, there's not just 2, there's 3. And when you get that moment, I was like, oh no, because like fighting off one person's hard enough, but 3, I'm just like, well, now I just want to see how you get out of this one, because she's essentially stuck in a wheelchair for most of the movie because she tried to kill herself. So you're like, how are you gonna, okay, I would also say the movie, stick with it because it takes a while to get to the horror. Like the beginning is slow, little bit. But you have to have that build up to make the end payoff that much more rewarding. Kind of. I do think it maybe could have been sped up a little bit more. That'd be my only other like, And how those deaths happen and how they're able to fight off these. You never really find out who they are, but it's satisfying when she gets the kill. She's kind of that final girl. And that final moment is great because she has that like, I got them. But it maybe could have been a little bit more oomph for me. I don't know what that would have been, but I was like, oh, we're done? We're done? But I mean, she killed the guy, but that's the end, and she kind of has that, I survived. So it kind of has like, yeah, final girl kills the bad guys. So those were a few of the aspects, and for me, they were really exciting because I didn't know they were coming, but I know some people don't mind spoilers, and they're like, yeah, sure, tell me. So as they happened in the movie, I was like, oh, yes. I did like those additions to the home invasion kind of plot line because normally that's a little bit like, sucks to be you. So it's always nice when they kind of add something else to it to make it something a little bit different. And I also like the idea when they use something in horror where it's like a real life something and the supernatural in there. And it's not super heavy on that to be the point of, I mean, yes, getting extra lives is very beyond the realm of reality, but there's no like ghosties or, you know, something. It's not done cheesy at all. So those were my final thoughts on Game Over. If you've seen the film, let me know what you thought. Comment down below. Please no spoilers because come on, those are really good moments as they happen in the movie and we don't want to spoil it for anybody else. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. My name's Kari Lane. I'll see you next time.